Hello everybody, welcome back to Apex Guide to Adulting. If you haven't already, feel free to subscribe to email updates for the website, give us a like on the video and check out any of our other content as seen in the menu bar just above you. Today I am here with Angela, who is somebody that I have worked with for 2 years now? 2 years now. And we both, upon working with each other, discovered that we shared the same issue of actually making friends, which sounds like a ridiculous thing for somebody. I'm 25 and you're 27, right?
Yes.
And we still struggle to make friends, engage, kind of initiate conversations with people. So we wanted to sit down today and talk to you guys about that. So a little bit of background on me and Angela. We both used to work together in Boots Pharmacy, which is where we met.
Yep.
And when I started there, it was May 2018, and you'd been there how long at that point?
I think I was there 6 months before you.
6 months before me. And when I came in, I very much just latched on to Angela. Very much.
Yes.
Because Angela was the first person to kind of really kind of talk to me and engage with me. I really struggled my first months at work as well with university, to kind of find something to engage with people about. Did you find that when you started in Boots?
Yeah, because I had actually left Boots for a while to do some other jobs, and I wasn't used to working with the public at that point. So I had to work on like trying to speak to customers and like trying to make new friends and stuff, and trying to figure out like how to address like the pharmacists or like the managers and stuff, because the managers in like our store, like they were really young, so I wasn't sure should I treat them like proper adults or should I like be like, hey,
more friendly with them. Yeah. Obviously, when it's starting in anywhere new, be it school, university, work, whatever, you always do have a degree of similarity with people, because obviously you're working for them, or you're in the same degree as them, or you're in the same class as them. But if it's your first time being there, you're not really going to know kind of other things you can bond with people over. Me and Angela happened to mutually bond over our social awkwardness.
Also, I remember you had your lanyard, your Call
I
of
did
Duty.
have my lanyard, yeah.
Right, so you had your Call of Duty lanyard, and I think I like said to you, do you do the Call of Duty?
Do you game? Do you game?
Like the video game?
Yes. That's one thing. That's one of my tips that I would recommend to you guys. Obviously, not necessarily applicable for the workplace, because obviously you'll be expected to have like uniform or something. But if you are going to school, or you're going to university, you're going to college, somewhere where you can dress probably a bit more freely than you can in a place of work, I would definitely suggest, if you're going to somewhere new and you're nervous about making friends, you're nervous about initiating conversation, band t-shirts, lanyards, wristbands, even bags with like patches on them, something that somebody can identify and say, yes, you're a part of a tribe, and therefore I can get involved with that, because that way that's a segue into a conversation.
Yeah.
I think that's definitely something that can help
definitely
people.
Yeah, like because not even just for you, like one of the girls at my new work, she pulled out a Rick and Morty wallet, and I was like, bruh.
It's like, bruh. Yeah, it's definitely an icebreaker.
Yeah,
it's something that you can use to like kind of segue into a conversation before you start asking people like kind of facts about themselves, things like that. But I mean, for me personally, I have always struggled at initiating conversation with people. I'm possibly one of the best fake it till you make it people. I had people in my current job convinced that I was an extrovert for about 2 years, which is definitely not the case. I'm possibly one of the most socially anxious and socially awkward people that probably exists on the planet. I get so nervous about speaking to new people, or being perceived as stupid or wrong in any capacity, which is just really weird and unnecessary to do, because nobody's going to judge you like that. Nobody's going to judge you for saying something that is potentially a bit stupid. I mean, you've moved jobs a lot, and you did the university thing as well. Would you say it was harder to make friends in job or university?
So I don't know, I feel like my case was a bit different, because so when I went into a job, like into working at Boots, like I didn't know what these people would be interested in, but when I went to uni, I did computer games, art and animation. So I went in like, but like the kind of what's the word, idea that they kind of like video games or anime and all that stuff. So at least I had that. So I think I had it a bit easy.
Fair. I think for me, I think it was always easier for me to make friends, I would say, work, which is more interesting because I think more people would make friends in education easier. So the first time I went to university, I did chemical engineering, and I did make some really good friends there, but I don't speak to any of them anymore, because for me that bond in university was mostly around
that subject,
which I'm now no longer in, which is probably something that contributed to the lack of continuation of the friendship. I then went to college and did journalism, which is actually where I met my current partner, but I did make a couple of friends in college. Don't speak to any of them anymore either. And now I'm at university studying journalism, and I've struggled to make friends there. Mostly because I've gone into third year of my degree, and most of those people have been there for 2 years already, so they've already got the kind of the foundations there. I've got a couple of friends that I do speak to and I do hang out with, but generally I find myself more on the outside of people, which, you know what, it is what it is. I think in work, normally because I've actually been in management roles, mostly, other than in my current job, I spent basically 6 years being a manager, so I had to kind of get to know people because they were working for me, and that made it easier for me to be able to make friends with them. Also, working with younger people made it a lot easier to kind of segue into that. I think the most difficult place that I have had to make friends is Boots. Yeah. Because nothing to do with the company. Nothing to do with the company at all. It's just, I went in and it was like a proper job. Like, it's my first proper adult
like a
job.
Kind of professional-ish.
Yeah. And I went from a job where I was old at 22 and in charge of potentially 40 to 50 people at a time, to being bargain basement pleb level and working with some people who were older than my grandma. And the average age, I think, at the time that I started working there was probably mid-30s.
Yeah, because like there were quite a few like young folk at age.
I was the youngest.
Yeah,
I was the youngest.
And then like I think there was like a good kind of mix.
There was a good mix, a good mix of people, but I mean, I wasn't the youngest by a mile, but I was the youngest. And the average age was probably about mid-30s. And that wasn't something that I could relate to. A lot of the people had kids. A lot of the people were like, they had like their life together, basically, which is not something you have at the age of 23. You're not expected to have your life together at the age of 23. Full disclosure. Little life tip for you. But I really had to try and make the effort to make friends with people. I didn't really have any segues that I could kind of jump onto. But I think my biggest tips for kind of making friends is definitely, obviously, if you're in somewhere where you can dress more freely, like we've said previously, wear something identifiable. I think is a good way to go about it. Like the other day, I started talking to somebody in the queue at work because they were wearing a Rhett and Link t-shirt that I recognised, and I was like, yes, I can converse with you, human. I think as well, it sounds really, 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 really obvious, but like making that first step and not being afraid to initiate a conversation is probably going to help you more than you realise. People like confidence. People naturally will gravitate towards somebody that has a confident aura about them, which is why I'm probably so well versed in the art of bullshitting, frankly, for lack of a better phrase. If you can't fake it, if you haven't got it, fake it, because people are never going to know, and nobody ever really calls you out on it.
No. Like, especially going into like a new situation, like most of the time you won't know anybody there, so like you can pretend to be who you want to be.
And you would really, I think if you're in a new situation, I think you would really struggle, particularly in terms of like a friendship aspect rather than a professional aspect. I think you would struggle to come across as arrogant in a new scenario because nobody knows you. So use that anonymity to your advantage, definitely. even if you have to like force yourself, be as confident as you can, and don't be afraid to make those first steps. Do you have any tips?
Like, don't be afraid to... Hold on a sec. Like, because I was going to talk about like how you're going to cut this and stuff. That's fine. See, when like I met you, like the way you came across was like you did seem kind of shy at first, but once like you know how you're saying that like you're quite scared of like talking to, not scared, but like,
well, yeah, scared,
you're a bit nervous about talking to like new people, and like getting to know them, but like see, as soon as you get to know you, like you keep going. Yeah. Like, so I do think as well, like don't be scared about like feeling like you're coming across as shy and like nervous and stuff, because like once you're comfortable enough with like whoever you're talking to, like it'll be fine.
Absolutely.
Like,
absolutely. And at the end of the day, you're not always going to make friends. You're not always going to please everybody, and that I think is something particularly me had to learn the hard way. You are never going to be able to please everybody, and the second that you learn that and you register that, your life is going to become a lot easier. In terms of making friends, in terms of progressing in workplaces or in educational aspects, in terms of just general everyday to-day life, you are never going to get everybody to like you, and you are never going to get everybody to please you. That doesn't mean you shouldn't try, but it means that you should know when to stop trying. Like,
the only thing I'd say is just don't be an ass.
Don't be an ass about it.
Like as long as you're not like intentionally offending anyone and like trying to like make waves, then like it'll be fine.
And I think the last piece of advice that we would both have is, and I know everybody's been banging on about this since literally the dawn of time, but the worst thing you could do is be unauthentic and be anything other than yourself. Obviously, I know I've said previously, be confident, but being confident in what you are and how you are versus just completely and utterly making something up and putting on a persona are two very different things. There's no point in lying, making stuff up, exaggerating. There's no point in doing anything about that, because at some point it will come out. At some point it will come back to bite you in the ass, as we have both seen, not with ourselves, with other people. And it's just, it can be really embarrassing further down the line, and that can actually knock your confidence even further.
For one, like it's probably more exhausting for you as well. Like you can try as hard as you want, like to pretend that you're somebody totally different, but like eventually you will get tired, and like you'll slip up, and then people see you for like lying about yourself.
Exactly. And that's, at the end of the day, that's probably going to put you in a worse scenario than if you had just been authentic and honest about who you were from the start. Okay, cool. Big fish, little fish, so that's kind of our background and our understanding of how difficult it can be to make friendships in the workplace and things like that. Obviously not an exhaustive list, not gospel or anything particularly new by any means.
Just like opinions from
us,
two normies,
two normies that have definitely struggled in the past, but kind of got little tips and tricks on how to help you guys. If you have any questions, leave some comments down below under this video or in the forum page in the little bar that you'll see just above you. Any questions, please feel free to leave us there, and other than that, feel free to watch other videos on this website, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.